If your budget is around 50 million naira, would you buy where everyone is already buying today, or would you invest that money where people would be in the next 5 years? Now that is the difference between just buying a property and buying strategically. So that is what we're going to look at in our video today. One of the biggest opportunities in real estate is buying before development. Now, here is what I mean. There are different stages to development in real estate. Now, that stage where it is early, nothing has started, the land is without any form and void. That is stage one. The second one is that stage where there is early development. Now, when you go to site, you see that the developer have started clearing the land. The developer has also started excavating, putting up perimeter fence and probably a security post and also the gatehouse. That is another stage of development. Now, there's also the other stage of development, which is the third one, where you come to that property and about 70% of the structures and construction has been up already. Now, we still have other stages, but what stage is the best to buy property today? And like I said, the biggest opportunities are before you buy. So how do you identify these locations where you would be able to invest before development happens? Now, the first thing to look at is roads and road connectivity. Now, you look at where new roads are constructed, you look at where there is easy access and connectivity. Now, these kind of areas, people go there early, especially when the roads begin to come up and expansion is heading towards that area. People go there early and take possession early enough to allow them earn high return on their investments. Now, take Abuja for instance. There are certain locations right here in the city of Abuja that you can see this happening. Let's take the Sheriti Kabusa axis for instance, and also the Apowasa axis. You see that the federal government has constructed road infrastructure in those areas. As a matter of fact, a lot of expansion is moving towards those areas. So these are the kind of areas that when you see, it is good for you to position yourself early in order to gain highest when it comes to your investments. 2, government infrastructure. This is another incredible thing to also look out for. Now, there are certain locations where you see signs that there is government presence. It starts with their infrastructure. Maybe the government is constructing, a hospital, probably a school, or maybe a bridge, or opening up a satellite area. Now, when you look at those locations, you see that the government is heading towards there. The government has interest in those locations. You need to go there and position yourself early. Ensure that you make your enquiries and carry out your research before investing, but those are the signs. Number 3, economic activity. So there are certain areas with a lot of economic activities, businesses, shopping centers, markets, Now look for such areas. One of it is the relocation of the informal sector to Apowasa. Now, when this is done eventually, what do you think is going to happen? The Apowasa community and its environment is going to boost the economic activity there. Why? Because wherever people want to live, people work, people do businesses, there's usually an increase in demand in those kind of locations. So those are other locations and signs that you should look out for. Number 4, demand before the crowd. Now, this is where the biggest opportunity lies. Now, these are areas where a lot of people are not paying attention to, but then there's some level of development that is heading towards that area slowly, gradually, but is becoming pronounced, yet people are not considering those areas. Now, in a lot of situations, you realize that development gradually moves to that area, and by the time people begin to talk about it, some people who paid attention to these particular places have already gained the most. And this lies with your ability to identify these areas before the rest of the crowd begins to talk about it, or before people begin to rush to those particular areas. Number 5 is social infrastructure. Now, recreational areas, green parks, gardens, people need this kind of services as well. Now, this is also another thing to look out for in a particular location. So when you find these services in an area where people live, the demand for that particular area also increases. Why? Because people want these services. So if you're buying a property, don't just buy because there's a property for you to buy. Rather, invest strategically where the conditions for the future are being created. So if you want help identifying the best investment locations where you get good returns on your investment, or where you can invest strategically right in the city of Abuja, reach out to us through the number you're seeing on screen, or DM us right away, and would guide you through the entire process. We're waiting for your call. Have a great day.